Okay, and however, it took us so much time to make people disciplined, not to bring food in and make it as, again, like masbala. But please, make a point. If you can come in during the day, or even at night, today when you leave, go, you might find people jumping, see how clean it is, and that's our contribution to our societies. To me, this is very significant, because in the day of judgment, we come and find so much in our scale, because we have introduced a new model. Haqiqa, in my humble opinion, the most valuable things we do on earth are the things we don't feel and we don't see it in our life. يعني الأعمال التي لا نراها في حياتنا. What do I mean by that? Because whenever you remember that you've done something good, you became a victim of حظ النفس. You might feel that, oh my God, I did something good, and that will wipe out your reward. But if you do something and have consequences, which is good, but you don't see the results of that, these are the kind of things that I believe will help you the most. Things like that, if you start a new way of life, and that causes and changes, you might come in the day of judgment and find, subhanAllah, there's so much rewards, you didn't even think of it. Again, this is why I chose this as a divine ethics. Because the first thing people comes to mind is something else when I talk divine ethics. But I had to get the exam to show that this is an example of the divine ethics. Now, this is the most important slide. And this you can apply to your life and to your organization. Every organization and every individual, the true power comes from inside. See, but by the way, the most dangerous thing is all cartoons. They emphasize on the external power, not internal power. I truly imagine that there should be have contribution to society. The cartoons, look at it, or even the new movies, Matrix and the Superman and Batman. It's all about what? Power and fighting. However, the true power is from within. I really wish one day they bring something called a new character called Abdul. And this Abdul, his power is from within, rather than outside. Every individual and every organization, its true power is actually power within. This power is not things you see. It's not the budget. It's not the financial statement. It's not the investors. It's something else. I'm going to share with you what I believe the true power. Now, have any one of you been on one of those? Okay, I wasn't on one of those, but I drove by one of those in New Jersey in the mid-80s, and they are phenomenal. I mean, they are much bigger than this picture would reveal. I call them moving cities. For this to be moving right and left, how big do you think the thing that makes it move right and left? How big? Huge. How huge? How huge? How big? Building and go. How big? Give example. How big? How big?
30 meters long.
30 meters. Anybody more? Less?
Less.
Less?
Less, yeah.
Some of you know the answer.
Yeah, that board will move.
To be honest with you, it's surprising. The thing that moves these huge things called the trimmed hat. Small rudder that turns a big rudder that turns the ship, and that small rudder is no more than 1 to 2 meters. That's it. Believe it or not. I call this one the power of intention. That small thing, the trimmed hat with the power of intention. سيدنا عمر الخطاب ما روى عن رسول الله إلا أحاديث قليلة. سيدنا عمر narrated from Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم only few hadith. ولكن الفاروق يعلم أي الأحاديث يروي عن رسول الله. فروى حديث اللي هو إيش؟ إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. The hadith says that the niyyah is the most. I will talk to the hadith. Sorry. الحديث اللي هي إنما الأعمال بالنيات. The deeds but by the intentions. ولكل امرئ ما نوى. It depends on your intention. And that hadith, معظم الصحاح, most of the hadith books start with this hadith. This is a universal order. It's not a Muslim concept. You find it in Christianity, in Judaism, and Islam. Why? Because it's a universal order. It's timeless, eternal. The second, of giving. How giving back enriches us all. Since when did we start thinking about corporate social responsibility? Very recent, in the last 1 decade. Well, where was it? 20, 30 years ago. We discovered that, with numbers, that the more we give, the more we take. Now, Warren Buffett and many other institutions in the States gives billions of dollars every year. Why do you think they do that? For taxes? No, it's not for taxes. Go back and look at the numbers. It's not taxes. Is it because they love their society very much? It could be. But I assure you one thing. All of them have seen the financial reward at the end of the year. The more you give your society, the more society will give you back. They have discovered the universal order. Good. God wants them to discover this universal order because God wants more good on earth. What's painful is many companies in this part of the world, Sharia Islamiyah, they have not yet discovered this universal order. They think by keeping in, they make more money. Wrong. By giving your society more, you are going to make more financial gains. That's concept number 2. And alhamdulillah, today you've seen Abdullah, you've seen Savola, and these are 2 good examples of companies have discovered universal order. Give society, it will give you back. The power of ethical management. Integrity pays, you don't have to win, to cheat to win. Winners never cheat. A self-made billionaire speaks out of honesty and generosity. When I started, many of the businessmen, the veterans, they took me aside and said, son, you have to, and لازم تبطل, I said to Arabic first, لازم تبطل المثالية حقتك ولا تعرف كيف تعيش وإلا أنت داعس بالرجول. You have to know how to play the game, you have to be smart, and this idealism of yours is not going to help. And rule number 1, you're going to videotape everything here? Rule number 1, they told me, that nothing works in this part of the world without knowing how to manage it, manage your way out. What manage your way out? يعني معناها لا تكون شاطر. والشاطر باللغة العربية الفصحى من هو؟ من هو الشاطر في اللغة العربية الفصحى؟ الشاطر هو السائل. والشطار هو السراق. هتكون شاطر. لازم تعرف أن تؤكل كتف. You have to know how to play the game, to work under the table. Otherwise, your idealism will get you nowhere. Haven't you heard that before? Yeah. Is it the most destructive concept ever? And this is the prevailing destructive concept worldwide, including this part of the world. And they name things by different names. Bribes, they call it government relations section. So every company has a small percentage, they call it the government relations. Bribes. But they put it, and they have fatwa. ما بتأخذ حق غيرك. You're not taking the right. Yeah, you're not taking the right of others. So they have the fatwa, and they have different hope. They have different dress for it. So their conscience is clear. They go and pray, and then they go and they have the bribes, and they say it's okay. How could we change our society? If everybody, every owner decides to put a percentage of the profit and the government relation, well, those poor people who cannot pay bribes, how they're going to manage? Are they going to manage? You're going to destroy souls. So what I've done from day number 1, I said, IMC will never pay a single real as bribe. They laugh at me and say, my God, show us what you're going to do. What we've done is the following. If you find somebody corrupted, we don't pay them. Sometimes they want peanuts. I go myself to Riyadh. I stay in the Kingdom of Four Seasons Hotel. I stay for 1, 2, 3 days until I meet the minister. And solve it. And I've done it at least twice. And in case we find somebody who's honest and sincere, we ask about this person, we verify this person is clean, we send a very nice letter to the minister and a copy to the employee that says, I lived 20 years in the States, and unfortunately I came back and I saw many people who do not represent you, minister, do not represent me, do not represent our leaders, and above all, do not represent our religion. However, I found people who are good representation, in our opinion, humble opinion, of you, us, and the leadership. And I believe this person, his name was so and so, is a good example. Thank you for putting this person in that position. We've done it at least 3 times. And 2 of those got promoted based on that letter. I invited the businessmen here. I said, please join with me. I know many of you have already established business, and you know how to get your way around, and you have this government relations section, and everything goes smooth for you. But please, if you don't fight it, it will never change. Corruption is like cancer. Unless all of us decide to get this cancer, it will never be getting out of the society. And that's the reward. In our first and second year of operation, we're invited to speak in Jeddah Economic Forum. Billahi alaykum. We're a young institution. How much we give our societies compared to, mashallah, tabarakallah, Abdul Jameel, or to Sabola, or those giants who make a lot of money. How much we give financially? Not much. But our theme is different. Which is a theme that they believe in, both of those companies, but they have also the money to support it. Our theme is that the highest form of worshiping God is by applying the best, the highest standards every day of operation. Because the damage any institution or organization will inflict on its society by not abiding with these standards far exceeds the benefits any society will gain by dedicating whatever amount of money at the end of the year as charity or as social programs. That's the theme. I truly believe if every company follows the highest standards of ethics and values, societies will flourish, will prosper. We are living in a world of abundance, but because we are corrupted, it looks like there's scarcity. There is no scarcity. God put us on earth, and He had put for us enough for all of our sustenance and abundance. Not only sustenance, but because of our greed and corruption, that's why you have this distribution of wealth is wrong, and you have people who cannot survive. And by the way, I was very bold in the economic forum. I said that exactly what I told you today. I was advised by many people that I have to be pragmatic, and I have to be realistic, and I have to pay bribes. And I told them, Wallahi, I did not pay a single riyal as Rashwa. And suddenly people stood us up clapping. Did not realize many of them had tried hard, but at one point they gave up because of the heat and the ability, their masalihum ta'aqqat. May Allah help us continue this route, because believe me, it is not easy. Sometimes it hurts you so much, and all it needs about 500 riyal, and it's done. But by saying no, it will delay you for 1 and 2 and 3, and you have millions at jeopardy. And if you tell you what God said, just pay it. So it's very tempting. But yeah, okay. We need to change our societies now. But however, if you follow those examples, it's like a domino effect. You find everything goes to place. And you have, how many of you have read this book called Tipping Point? It's a great book called Tipping Point, and there's another book after that called Outliers. And there's another book called What the Duck Saw, the new one. Duck Saw, it's a wonderful book called What the Duck Saw. I have a copy if you want to. Now, this one here talks about how little things make a big difference. It talks about how do you start a social epidemic. See how the virus spread? Small, it spreads. How about if you have the ability to cause what we call social epidemic? And it talks about how could you start social epidemic.